Thank you. It is so incredibly exciting to be in front of a crowd that's happy to see you. You know, in my previous job for 2.5 years working as the White House press secretary for President Trump, when I'd walk into a room and step up to the microphone, nobody ever cheered. So this is a great turn, and I have to say I like this a lot better to walk into a friendly crowd. So thank you so much. It is an absolute honor and privilege to be here to support my good friend and one of the best governors that our country has in Governor Abbott. So. You know, I've been in a lot of difficult rooms and a lot of tense crowds, and on one particular occasion, I was traveling with the president. It's probably one of the most historical days of his presidency up until that point. We were headed to Singapore, and he was going to sit down with Kim Jong-un of North Korea. And we're walking into the room, and I'm one of 7 in the delegation to represent the United States. And I kind of look to my left, and you've got Secretary of State Mike Pompeo, the National Security Advisor, the Chief of Staff, who's a 4-star Marine General, and then me. And I'm thinking, you know, something here is not like the others. And it's very tense. Everybody's anxiety is at a high level. We know that the world is literally watching this meeting go down. And I think, you know what, I'm gonna lighten the mood a little bit. So I turned to Secretary of State Pompeo and I said, hey, Mike, I said, am I the only person here who either hasn't killed someone or hasn't ordered somebody to be killed? And obviously I'm referencing both our side and the North Korean side. And he kind of looks at me, looks at the room, and I think he's gonna laugh along with me. And he goes, yes, Sarah, you're the only one. So this seems a lot easier, to be honest. In fact, this will probably be one of the easiest things I do all month. Because one of the things that I love about this country are some of the great people that we have representing and fighting for it. And you have nobody better to represent and fight for you and fight for the state of Texas than Governor Abbott. He is about as solid of a conservative as you can possibly find. Somebody who knows what it means to never back down, to never give up. No challenge is something he's not willing to fight to overcome. You can see that if you look at everything he's done in his life, not just what he's done in politics. Because I like to say you gotta look at everything they've done and look at who he is as a man. And that to me is what makes me so proud, so honored to be here with him today, is that I know that the decisions that he will make here in the state of Texas that will also have an impact on my neighboring state of Arkansas. They're gonna be the decisions that I would make as well. They're going to be decisions that I know I would want to happen that would impact the lives of my own kids. I have 3 young kids. And in politics, kids are important. Not just because they help you keep your priorities, but they also keep you humble. You know, you can start to travel around and go in front of crowds that cheer when you come into the room, but you go home, and your kids will remind you you're not nearly as cool as you think you are. I have a daughter who's 9 now, going on 25, and when she was about 6, she was going to her very first father-daughter dance. And it was a big day at our house. We spent all day getting her ready, picking out the perfect dress. I took her to get her hair, her nails done. She'd clearly seen one too many princess movies because she wanted the big reveal. She wanted to walk down those stairs, and she wanted her Prince Charming, my husband, to be at the bottom, ready for the date of her life. And so we got her ready, and as I was sitting up there and she was getting ready to go down the stairs, and I was putting the final touches on her hair, I was telling her how proud we were of her, how smart she was, how beautiful on the inside and the out. And as I'm talking to her, I started to get a little sentimental. I started to get a little emotional and tear up. And in all of her 6-year-old honesty, she reached up and she patted my shoulder and she goes, "It's okay, Mom. One day you can be pretty too." So kids keep us grounded. They keep us humble, and they keep our priorities in line. And I know that the decisions that Governor Abbott has made and will continue to make will be the best for every kid, not just growing up in Texas, but in this country. And that's exactly what we need. We need conservative, strong governors who are willing to fight back against the radical left and the craziness coming out of Washington, and that can be part of a coalition to make sure that their radical ideas and policies don't infiltrate our states. If you don't hear anything else I hear today, I hope you'll hear these two things. Number one, vote for Governor Abbott. And number two, and I think this is actually even more important, and I think he would agree with me, never ever forget that the United States is the greatest country that the world has ever known. And but never forget why. We are the greatest country the world has ever known because we're the freest country the world has ever known. And we need people who understand that, who are willing to push back against the radical left and make sure that we have law and order, make sure we're protecting our borders, make sure that we're doing everything we can to provide opportunity for kids to grow up and succeed in America. Because one of the greatest things about our country is it doesn't matter where you start. You get to decide where you will finish. And you have a governor that's going to fight for that. You have a governor that is going to make every decision with the kids growing up across this state in mind as he does it. Over the course of the 2.5 years that I spent working at the White House, one of the greatest privileges I had was traveling with the president to nearly 30 different countries. Every single place we went, I was reminded of what an incredible blessing it is to call myself an American. And on one particular trip, December 25th of 2018, I was with the president. It was Christmas night. It was unlike anything we'd ever done before. I had just cleaned up wrapping paper shoved into every corner of my house. When I had to walk out on my own family's Christmas, unable to tell them where I was going, because the place I'd be traveling to that night was so dangerous. They didn't want anybody in the world to know that the president was going to be on the ground even for a few hours. Yet we have men and women who live there, serving, sacrificing, missing every holiday with their family so that we get to live free in this country. We boarded Air Force One in complete and total darkness. No lights on the plane, no lights on the runway, the shades pulled down, our cell phones turned off. And 15 hours later, when we touched down in the war-torn part of Western Iraq, it was a similar scene. No lights on the runway, no lights on the plane. The only thing you could see was a glimmer coming off of a dining hall about a mile away from where we had landed, where hundreds of troops had packed in, thinking that they were having dinner with senior military leadership. They had absolutely no idea that the president and first lady were going to walk into that room. And when they did, a sight and a scene and a sound that I hope I never forget unfolded. You had troops from every region of the country, every political party, every religion, every demographic you can imagine represented in that room. But in that moment, in one perfect voice and in total unity, they shouted over and over and over again, USA, USA, USA. It is an absolutely perfect picture of what makes our country so great. And we have to make sure that we have people that understand what makes our country great. And it's that freedom that we've been given, that we have the opportunity to enjoy because of men and women like those individual soldiers who are willing to put their lives on the line to protect it. And now we have a job to do to make sure that we do our part in the fight for freedom. You have an incredible governor, not only doing his part, but helping carry the rest of the country's banner for that freedom, to make sure that we secure our borders, to make sure parents get to make decisions about where their kids get to go to school and how they'll raise them, how to operate their businesses. We need more people like Governor Abbott, because we need a coalition of conservatives standing up and fighting back. I'm incredibly proud to be here today, and I can't wait to serve alongside him. I think we may even have a couple friendly wagers over some football games coming up in our future. Go Hogs. I just felt like I had to get that out of the way. I know it's frowned upon.